Fridays. Fancy Fry Fridays. Fancy Fry Fridays. Yes, I see my people already pulling up. Excellent, excellent. It's such a joyous day of the week. Ending the week on a high note. What's up, Sandra? I just see so many. Nora, Nina, Ofa, all the way from Spain. Barcelona is in the building. We have Orlando in the building. I love the Justy family is representing. What's up? What's up? Say hi if you guys are with me. Nice earrings. Thank you, Sandra. You know I always get up dressed up for you guys. Excellent. I love people trickling in. Guys, I'm so happy to be with you all today. My goodness, what a week it has been. What a week. For those of you who may not know, the topic of conversation today at Fancy Fridays is making the most of isolation. It is 12 o'clock here in California. We're going to wait for some folks to, trickle in. It's 30 minutes, not just of positivity, but operationalizing positivity. What does that mean? Well, we're going to get into it. So as folks continue to trickle in, I will introduce myself. I am Fancyfied. Who is Fancyfied? Well, my name is Lisa Francoeur. Wait, I'm like trying to combine my French pronunciation and my English pronunciation. Okay, so I'm Haitian. My name is Francoeur, which actually means truthful heart when it's translated to English. I'm of Haitian descent. But more specifically, and what enables me to be managing today's conversation around operationalizing empowerment, operationalizing positivity, operationalizing unity, and so forth, is I'm a motivational speaker. I do a lot of public speaking. Most recently, I was speaking in New York at Microsoft's Women's Leadership Conference. I am also an empowerment I don't want to say guru, but an empowerment subject matter expert. Joel, what's good? We got Jamaica in the house. Let me just tell you guys, on the live stream, we've got Europe, we've got Spain specifically, we've got the Caribbean, Jamaica. Joel and his people out there are Jamaican me crazy. We have Africa. My homegirl Mia is in South Africa as we speak. Obviously, I and many of the other folks are here in the U.S., and it's so dope to have you in this global community be a part of this conversation that is rooted in intention. Yes, Joel, you know what's up. Okay, so going back to who am I and what makes me uniquely qualified to have this conversation. I'm an empowerment workshop developer and facilitator. Matter of fact, April 7th, because I've been in sales and business development for a couple decades. I will be leading a conversation in partnership with Gong on revenue intelligence. So how do you navigate as a sales professional the world that we're living in? So I'll be talking about best practices, strategies, and moderating a discussion on April 7th. So you can go to Gong, G-O-N-G, to learn more about that. I'm an agent of positive change. And this, I think, is one of the most valuable aspects about why participating in Fancy Fridays is going to be so valuable to you. I am an adaptability and resilience expert. I'm a subject matter expert on this. How can I say that with such confidence? Well, for context, in my late 20s, I had to overcome depression. I was battling even suicidal thoughts, right? And I say that to say I had to literally climb out of the pit of despair. And that is what put me on the path of positivity. Because I realized if I could harness positivity versus negativity, I could not only be moving forward and progressing, but doing so a lot faster, a lot happier. So going back to my Fancyfied vision, I have a vision of scaling empowerment globally. My mission is to help people harness the power of positivity and unity to create new and favorable possibilities for themselves and others. And my values are to uplift, empower, inspire, and unite. So that, in a nutshell, is who Fancyfied is. We're going to get into the Fancyfied Fridays framework and how you guys will be able to take advantage of tools to manage your life with intention and intentionality, with positivity, inspiration, all of the virtues, right? So, let me pause here. How is everybody doing? Let's just do a quick pulse check to see how people are feeling this Friday. If you want to chime in and just speak to kind of where you're at, are you feeling good going into the weekend? Are you feeling, uncertain? I would love to have this be a conversation and not me just talk at you. I want for you to be involved. I want for you to be, participating. So while we wait for folks to chime in around how they're feeling right now, what I want to do is I want to talk about, some of the practices that have helped me throughout my life from, as I said, battling depression, battling suicidal thoughts, last year even getting divorced, which is the best decision I could have made. Also moving across country where I had no family, no biological family, and just having to rebuild my life. So, Nina says that she was stressed earlier, but she's feeling a bit better about things. Nina, I can empathize. I have been struggling with this isolation. Guys, I might pride myself on being super resilient and adaptable, but my goodness, this COVID-19 situation has broken me down so many times. Mia says she's feeling good right now. She's at peace. She's trying, to make the best of the situation. What's up, Steph? Keep the feedback coming in. Mariama says she can't lie. She's feeling calm and blessed and appreciating the quiet time. I love that feedback because it's taken me time to even come to that point. So I'm glad to hear that some of you guys are already there. But let me tell you, I was crying. I don't know if it's I had breakdowns, straight up breakdowns. Yes, me, Fancyfied, Miss Positivity, breaking all the way down because I was so confronted by the fact that as an extroverted extrovert, I wasn't able to be in the presence of people. And I find that really helps, me feel good. Gene says that he's had the last couple days have been better, but, he was struggling too. He feels really isolated. Gene, I totally empathize with you. That's exactly what I was feeling. That's exactly what I was experiencing. And, for someone like myself who, really thinks about how do I adapt, right? How do I maximize the hand that I was dealt versus, being just, pulled in whatever direction without having any, input around where I'm going and how I'm flowing. Like, it took me some time to kind of connect the dots that I needed to reassess and also recalibrate, right? And that's what today's conversation is going to be about, what the recalibration, looks like. Meltdown Gene, Fancyfied knows, many a nights, boo-hoo-hoo, kicking and screaming and all that jazz. Olfa, on the other hand, she's feeling good. She needed time to focus on herself, and that is precisely the type of strategies and techniques that are going to help us overcome not just this time in our life, but managing life better overall. Nancy from the UK says that some days are better than others. Sometimes she feels good. Sometimes pessimism kicks in. And honestly, that's normal. You're going to have to balance. You're going to have to move back and forth between feeling great and not so great. But what this conversation is about, how do we continuously recalibrate when we're not, feeling our best? How do we get back to a good state of mind, a good state of being? A lot of negativity out there, and rightfully so. People are losing their lives. They're losing their jobs. There's a lot of disruption. But what today's conversation is about is, in spite of all of the external factors that can be, driving us crazy in some respects, how do we come back to center? So, with that being said, there are 3 principles associated with the Fancyfied mentality, the Fancyfied, way of being. Sound mind, sound body, sound spirit. We're going to kick off today's conversation with sound mind. This is where we get into the Fancy Five Fridays framework. The Fancy Five Fridays framework is super simple. How we cultivate a sound mind is 3 simple steps: a positive share, a challenge, and then the action step you're going to take to overcome that challenge. So, positive share. My positive share is that I've been pulling out my hair for the past few weeks trying to figure out what the new normal looks like and how do I, in spite of not being comfortable, get comfortable being uncomfortable. So, this week, what I did was, my positive share is that I decided to just look at life from the 30,000 foot view and say to myself, if I want to excel professionally, if I want to excel personally, what do I need to do? So I put together a plan for myself. I literally sketched out a strategy that addresses how I can continue to develop and nurture my soul on a personal and professional front. And then I started to transpose all of that information into a project management tool, so that I could make sure that I was addressing the things that I wanted to do professionally as well as personally, and scheduling time in my calendar. That shit made me feel really empowered. I was like, okay, so give me some positive shares. Mia's saying from South Africa, get comfortable being you. I love it. Yeah, you can see my TED Talk where it's titled Get Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. It's a very interesting story, so definitely check it out when you can. But let's get some shares, positive shares. Let's get those feel-good vibes coming in. What other things or what other positive shares do we have? I'd love to hear from you guys. And welcome, Brain. We have some interesting folks joining the line from across the entire globe. I love it. We gotta grow. Okay, cool. So while we're waiting for some positive shares to come in, to trickle in, let's also speak about the challenge aspect, right? So how do we use positivity to create new possibilities in our life? So I talked to you guys about what's making me feel good right now. My challenge, as I said, has been to kind of work through what's going on and, try to make the most of this isolation. So I put together a curriculum for myself. I literally have courses that I'm taking and I've scheduled them. What's up, Crazy? My Next Play team. Sidebar, if you're interested in diversity recruitment and tech, pull up. Next Play's got the answer for you. That's a sidebar. And I had a partnership, so I got a shameless plug. But Nina's positive share is being employed, being able to work remote from Florida, even though her job is based in Singapore. That's exactly right. Like, we really want to proactively think about what's working in our life. It's so easy to get bogged down by the negative news, even from family and friends that are just dealing with the challenges of today. So what we want to do is we want to proactively identify things that are working, things that we are being inspired by, or people, things that were helping us uplift ourselves. So keep the positive shares coming, and I'm going to speak about challenges right now, which is the second step in the Fancy Five Fridays framework to cultivate a sound mind. So challenge, getting organized. Project management is something that I'm deficient. I've got there's a skills gap there. So for me, I could just wallow in I can't do this, but I'm not. I'm going to do what I can do. So if I want to learn something, I got to research it. I got to take classes and webinars and all that good stuff. So it's kind of an opportunity for me to grow and to develop. Gene says that he's been checking more on his friends. I love that idea. That's a great positive share, because although there's social distancing, we can still stay connected with each other. We can still actually continue to connect, continue to build and keep those connections and the people that are close to us, right? House Party, by the way, is a great, face-to-face conferencing, they call it. It's a lot funner than like a Zoom or, even a Hangouts. So you could definitely check out the House Party app. Stephanie, her positive share, by the way, is
being able to take classes online and level up. That's what I'm talking about. Controlling the controllables. This is a tremendous opportunity and time for us to level all the way up. So we've got online classes. Now says picking up the phone and calling friends. I love that. You guys are continuing to stay connected. That's what I'm talking about. How do we make the most of isolation? We stay connected. How do we make the most of isolation? We learn new skill sets given that we're by ourselves. So let's talk about a challenge, guys. Give me some of the challenges that you're working through, right? I definitely want to hear, does anyone else feel what I was feeling around like uncertainty and like maybe even, crying? I mean, let me tell you, I'm a strong person. It's my Haitian nature. We're like resilient and like we just power through. But I was breaking all the way down. So anyone can relate to me on that front because, it's a part of the process. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you guys that you should be positive and everything is going to work out. That's not the reality. That's not the reality. The reality is that the only way that we can manage change is by accepting change, accepting the dynamic nature of life. Nina says on the challenge front that she's been mentally scared about having to go back to Singapore with all the germs. I know Nina. She's one of my best friends in the entire world. She's a germaphobe. And quite frankly, she's been right all this time, right? Like, germs are the enemy. So I can totally feel you on that front. Let's keep the challenges coming. Let's keep the community mobilizing around what is working in our lives, where we're challenged. And guess what? The last step in the Fancy Fridays framework is the action step we're going to take to overcome that challenge. This ties back to how we're able to operationalize positivity, how we're able to operationalize inspiration. We're using positivity as a means to drive positive changes. So, action steps that we're taking. If you recall what I said before about having to, be more organized and, be more intentional about how I structure my day, the action step that I took was I wrote out exactly what it was that I wanted to accomplish, not just today, tomorrow, but just big picture on a personal and professional front. And then from there, I scheduled it. I have like a project management tool at my company. We're using Monday.com. So it's a great way to just kind of manage tasks. And then I also schedule things in my calendar. So hearing from you guys, Sandra had mentioned that, so this is what I love to see. I love to see the community interacting with one another. So Sandra mentioned to Nina that she should look up how Naomi Campbell cleans her airplane. That's really cool. I like the fact that we're giving each other recommendations and advice on challenges, right? Because the community is designed to empower the community. Kwesi, one of my business partners at Next Play, says that designing your path to achieve your goals, being open to challenges that change your course, patience, and prayer, right? God is giving us and inspiration. So we want to just make sure that if you want better answers, you got to ask better questions. Gene says that his industry tanked. Concerts may be back, but will people be wanting to go back and be in big areas? So, Gene, this is a great opportunity to kind of reinvent what the concert experience looks like. Maybe there are ways to incorporate virtual elements so that people can still get the music and the vibes, but if they're afraid about meeting in person, they have that virtual distance so that they can still participate. What's up, Adrienne Ambition, one of my Fancy Fridays veterans, all the way back from my days at LinkedIn when we rolled this program out. He knows what's what. Happy to have you. So again, we talked about with the Fancy Fridays framework, positive share, challenge, action step to overcome our challenge. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you guys want to share anything within that framework, please continue to do so and I will call it out. Kiba Nash, what's up? My girlfriend from San Francisco with my niece. I hope my niece is doing well. So sound mind, we covered that. that with the Fancy Five Fridays framework. Now let's talk a bit about sound body and sound spirit. I want to give you guys specific techniques to, again, make sure that you're being really fluid and you're being very accepting of whatever, life is throwing at you. So a couple of recommendations for sound body. YouTube is your best friend. Anything you want to learn, and it's free. Anything you want to learn, yeah, there might be commercials, but that aside, you can learn on YouTube. You can learn UX design. Hey, one of the things I've been doing is aerobics. I'm like, Afrobeat aerobics, do they have that? Yes, they do. So that's how we're keeping the sound body. Sup, Fancy Five fam? That's what Adrian says. So sound spirit, journaling. I've even started writing poetry. All this isolation is giving me such a creative, I feel like super creative right now. I don't know exactly why. I'm grateful that I'm channeling inspiration and creating with it. I hope that's the case for you guys. But if you have any tips on sound spirit and any of the practices to keep yourself sane and well, obviously prayer. MJ Visionary says choosing to stay connected to anyone and anything that is helping her stay in a positive state of mind. We've got each other. You damn right. We've got each other. We're in this together, each of us, which is why the only infection that I want to infect people with is positivity. Hold that. Infection and positivity versus infection and dis-ease or disease. We're not about that life. We're about how do we ensure that we are being proactively using positive and making positive changes in our life. Stephanie says, yes, YouTube is great for learning. There are a whole bunch of courses. Exactly right. So you and me are right here. Let's talk a bit about the main topic of today, though, maximizing our time in isolation, making the most of isolation. So, guys, I'm going to put this on you. Tell me what's working, right? With maximizing your time in isolation, what are you doing? How are you managing your day? How are you managing your time? What are you doing with your time? Butterfly journeys. Everyone thinks that we're related. Not biologically, but she's definitely my soul sister. Go check out Butterfly Journeys and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, Brit, you say noting your feelings and what is coming up for you, plus gratitude or joy. She suggests gratitude journaling, 3 things that brought you joy. I love that strategy. See, here's the thing, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to actually exchange recommendations, techniques, and strategies to continuously live a better life experience. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on that can take us out of that mindset. And this is why with Fancy Five and Fancy Five Fridays, what we're doing is trying to help each other recalibrate, keep each other focused on the controllables. Stephanie again says that she's using her Google Calendar to schedule events so that things won't get hectic. All hail Queen Bee. I'm so happy to have you in Fancy Five Fridays. We've been talking about, having these discussions. So now with social distancing and not being able to meet in person, the virtual community that we're building, everyone has access to no matter where you are in the world. So again, let's talk about making the most of isolation. What are some of the things, some of the tools that you guys might be using? I mentioned House Party because I think that making the most of isolation is important to stay connected with people you care about and people that you love. House Party, as I mentioned earlier, is a great I think they call it face-to-face meetings or something like that. But it's just got a bit more swag than a Zoom or a Hangouts or whatever. So definitely check that out. What else do we have? What other suggestions do you guys have to stay connected? Ultimately, what I want to do is just continuously with the theme, which is in this case making the most of isolation, give you guys recommendations that enable you to take action, right? All of this would be for fraught if the feel good coming out of this empowered, if you didn't do anything with that empowerment, right? The idea is that you want positivity, empowerment to be the catalyst in your transformation, right? So Sandra says live fitness classes. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, guys. This is so cool to see how creative you're being with meeting your needs, right? Like obviously life has changed. So many things have been upended, but finding balance in the midst of it all, finding your power in the midst of it all, recreating the life, not even, yeah, recreating life. Like this is so exciting. Next, Stephanie also says Netflix party. Okay, at what is that right? Netflixparty.com. Check it out. I'm making notes. Sandra says, remembering who you want to be when quarantine is over. Boom goes the dynamite. I absolutely love that because it actually started to make me think. Sandra, thanks for calling it out. The reason why I'm always able to recalibrate personally is because I have a vision, I have mission, and I have values. That is my compass. So no matter how, off kilter or derailed I go, I'm always able to come back because I have that structure. Those are the guidelines. That is how I govern myself, right? What's up, Emma? Love to you and the kids. Mia also says virtual happy hours. Yes, from South Africa. I'm gonna have to join one of your virtual happy hours. So, this has been such an incredible conversation. All hail Queen Bee. She says, my Peloton is getting me through. I heard that. Let me tell you, if I could lift up my shirt, if it were appropriate, and show you my abs, I'm coming out of this isolation, and my mentality is I want people's mouths to drop. I want them to be like, oh, like you made the most of isolation. Hey, Lexi, I owe you a Marco Polo video. I'm going to get back to you. But she says, taking the time to have deeper conversations with my loved ones to build stronger relationships. That's my girl. That's such great advice. And actually, her and I have been using a tool called Marco Polo to create video messages for each other. So even if we can't speak, in live, we're able to create little videos for each other. And so, we're able to have a conversation that, works for our schedules. So I owe you a video, Lexi. I'm coming back to you. All hail Queen Bee said +1. That's right. I love the community building. Stephanie says to me, when's the virtual happy hour? So glad to see that we're building. What's up, Kendra? Welcome to Fancy Five Fridays. Cool. So, guys, we have 3 minutes left in Fancy Five Fridays because this is the power half an hour. And for anyone who thought today's conversation around making the most of isolation was valuable, hands up. So, 3 key takeaways from today's discussion. Sound mind, we've got the Fancy Five Fridays framework, as I said to you, positive share, a challenge, and then the action step you're going to take to overcome that challenge. So we've got a sound mind practice in place. Sound body. We talked about YouTube being a great repository of everything from classes, professional development, to aerobics, yoga, and so forth. Sound spirit. We talked about prayer. We talked about journaling, gratitude journaling. We talked about, for me at least, writing poetry. Makes me feel good. So, next week, guess what the topic is? I'm so excited. How to be the CEO of your own life. So, some homework, but some fun homework. I want for you guys to be thinking about what your vision is, what your mission is, what your values are. Just be thinking about it. And so when we talk about how to be the CEO of your life, what we're talking about is how do you manage your professional obligations? How do you continue to up-level and to navigate professionally? And then personally, right? We have, moms who are now working from home that are not necessarily accustomed to having to take care of the baby and be working like that, balance, right? So again, next week's topic is going to be about how to be the CEO of your life. We're going to be simulcasting live once again at Fancyfied across YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So please join us. Tell your friends or anyone you think would benefit from an empowering community, empowering discussion. And I'm just super happy that we were able to connect today. I hope that you end your week on a positive note. We've got a lot of great comments and a lot of great feedback within the chat. So if you want to take a peek and see some other recommendations that I might have overlooked. Stephanie is saying cheers. I think she's in New York. She's on the East Coast. So it's just about time to toss a cocktail back. So on that note, guys, as we wrap up Fancy Five Fridays, I just want to say I hope you will join me next Friday for the How to Be the CEO of Your Own Life discussion. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and let's make the most of our time. Sending lots of light, lots of love. Fancy Five over and out.